There we go.
Live from New York. Oh, hey. Oh, hello, everybody. It's Tuesday. Today, Cindy isn't with me in the studio. Where are you, Cindy?
I am all the way out in Omak, Washington, or Brewster, I would have to say to be precise. I'm in Brewster, Washington, because I'm doing big things for Cleric Cannabis at this moment.
I'm doing big things. Anyways, it is Tuesday. Cleric Talk.
His name's the Cleric.
What's happening here? Why are you... Anywho, Tuesday. It's the Cleric Talk. It's the day that we talk about stuff and we do things and we stuff. I'm Michael Gramling, the Bard Creative.
And I am Cindy Munoz, the High Priestess.
Today we got a couple of things to talk about. First, our little morning announcements. Nerdfaire was this Saturday.
Yes, it was. It was a success.
Yes. It was very fun. The Linwood Convention Center. It was their second year ever doing it.
Mm-hmm. It was our first with them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're popping.
Yeah.
Popping.
I was surprised. We actually ended up having like 2 tables an hour all day, which was a big surprise. I thought it would be a lot slower. We went to Jet City the year before, and that was a very slow kind of convention.
Well, because it wasn't really, it was like last minute advertised. This one we had a little bit more time to kind of put it together.
We did Nerdfaire. That was great. Those of you guys that maybe were able to show up and hang out and play some games. It was cool.
Yes.
The other thing that's coming up this Thursday, we have a special adventure thing planned. Cindy, why don't you tell us about Thursday?
Well, a friend of mine and a lovely lady who we've had on the show before,
yes,
Kristen, the makeup artiste, also is a barista on the side. And not only is she a barista, but they kind of made her like a bartender. And she works at this lovely establishment called Foxy Lady Bikini Barista Bar. And they are beautiful women in very revealing clothes. And I enjoy it personally. And they serve drinks and food and good time. I mean, well, you know, like good conversations and stuff. That's kind of what I'm getting at with that. But nothing more, nothing less. And now they will be helping provide D&D.
And this is we've got 1 table secure. I think we're working on an extra because this is actually getting a little bit more popular than we were initially intending.
Yeah, well, it's in a very weird location that's kind of out there for some people. But I figured I'd put it out there. You know, it's 21 and over. No kids, sorry. But we want to provide different experiences for different types of places, and we enjoy doing our family stuff. But as adults ourselves, it's nice to be able to have a little time away from the children and have some adult entertainment, and that's including the things we already like to do, which is Dungeons and Dragons. As much as I enjoy playing with my kid, I like to play with my friends and cuss and have a drink and enjoy my time with adults.
Does the Foxy Lady Bar offer alcohol?
They do offer alcohol. They have beer on tap. As far as I know, there's mixed drinks. Kristen's gonna be there doing everything up. She's making custom drinks for us too, like special just for the day, for our gaming day. And then she also has like full like smoothies, coffee, tea, like anything non-alcoholic, anything caffeinated, non-caffeinated, pretty much whatever your little heart content, she could pretty much try to whip up.
Awesome. Jen, what are we going to be playing? Do you know, do we have our modules already selected?
Or what?
Our modules. Are we running an epic? What are we playing that day?
Excuse me. Getting over another cold. Isn't that nice? Washington. Anyways, we are going to be running Defiance of Phlan. And then I decided, depending on the overflow, we're going to either be playing, we're either going to have another table open up with Defiance of Phlan or Ebenron. The first part to Ebenron. And the Ebenron first part might be cut into two, though. So, like, if you come to play Ebenron, you might play the first part two different times, because I don't know if we're going to have enough time there to be able to play the full first part of the Ebenron module.
Okay. Rad. So yeah, if you guys do get the chance to check it out, Thursday, Foxy Lady Bar, we'll have the address. Are we going to have the address up? We'll have the address up at some point. And we're doing signups. I think we have signups. We might have signups.
Oh, Commander. Hey, welcome.
Following that, we're going to have some new pre-gens as well. That's the other morning announcement I have. So one thing that we've been doing to kind of really make this a Cleric Games thing is we offer pre-gens that are based after some of the people in the company and things like that. But we have a special pre-gen that we're planning on doing. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm really excited. Ben kind of brought the idea to the table of maybe being able to do something with Bonsai, since we're always kind of rating her page, and she's a good friend of mine, and she kind of brought my confidence into this whole like Twitch thing. And she's a pretty awesome cat, you know, and Ben was like, maybe we can do something with her and create a regen. And she's known as a tinkerer, pretty much. I mean, if you guys have stuck around for when we raid her, then you guys know that she's all about putting things together and working in her workshop and using her hands. So we decided to create a really cool pre-gen of a gnomish artificer in every.
That is really, I love, so because we always raid Bonsai, and she's always in the workshop tinkering, and I think making an artificer is a fantastic class for her. So
yes.
So that's super exciting. You actually you went out with Bonsai the other day?
We did. So we went to the normal Dorky's place. You know, I don't know if you guys are from Tacoma. Dorky's is really fun, like pizza arcade place. They have all kinds of ciders and beers. I learned Bonsai's favorite was a sour beer, and we played video games all night, and at one point we decided to go move on because it's in this location of like the college district of Tacoma. So like there's like bars like all down the street. Well, there's this new place that just opened up called McMenamins. Yes. Have you heard of this place, Michael?
Yes, I have been to McMenamins.
What the fuck did you go and not take me?
Yeah, your boy, like, I go out and I do the things. And you're in OMAC, or wherever, Brewster. Canada, basically.
Anyways.
Whatever.
We went there, and I'll explain what McMenamins is to the viewers. McMenamins is this fucking place that they created. It took them, I would say, it took them about 2 years, didn't it, Mikey, to create this whole thing?
Yeah, it took them a little while to finish.
Huge, like 6-story building, old building. They revamped it. From what I was told from Josh, when reading the articles that he reads, that Tacoma was like putting them through the ringer on being able to have this. So they put a lot of, and it's a hotel. The rooms are like different themed. I'm not sure if the hotel rooms are different themed, but I know the hotel rooms are supposed to be like super bitchin' looking. And then each floor has a different bar. So you like pretty much bar hop in the same place that you're already staying. What I fucking thought was awesome is they have this thing called the Passport. It costs $30. And you go around and you get your shit stamped. And then like you can like earn some prizes. Or you get your thing stamped, and then you're supposed to buy like these specific drinks, and then get like the special stamp if you bought the drink too. And you do it through the whole hotel, and you can earn 2 nights free there. I was like, what?
They used
so
to
like, gosh.
They used to have this. You can go to other places, but it's a drink card, and if you order each of the drinks, they give you a special membership card that'll give you 10% off for life.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like if you do that, you get the discount, and you get 2 nights for free in their hotel. And I was like, and so the plan is to try to go out for Valentine's Day to do that. If you guys hear any noises, because Josh stays in a trailer, like little trailer thingy for when he's out here at the farm working, the propane ran out and it's freezing, hence the coat. And trying to install, I think, the propane tanks right now. So there might be some noise, so that's what that is. I already know. What's that noise?
No, you're good. I'm not picking up any crazy like background noises.
Okay, good.
Let's see. The other morning announcement we have is March 12th to the 15th is Emerald City Comic-Con. This is another fantastic con that we go to. We play D&D. The Emerald City Comic-Con, I've only ever had a good time there. It's pretty rad.
The Emerald City Comic-Con is pretty much Washington's version of the San Diego Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. So it's our big one. It's the one that takes over hotels. It takes over the entire Seattle Convention Center. Mm-hmm. There's like all kinds of panels and people, celebrities coming. This is our big one next to PAC.
Yes.
Right?
Basically.
That's what I would say.
And I think, they've been on Facebook, and they've been like putting out like their special guests. Darth Maul, Ray Sparks.
Is that Emerald
Ray
City?
Parks.
Or
that's Emerald City, I think, or is that SummerCon?
I thought that was SummerCon.
Dang it! I got it mixed up. I thought that was Emerald City. SummerCon. That is
Smith and Karen Gillian from Doctor
Which
Who
we will be at also.
Yes.
They canceled last year, so who knows?
Touche. But yeah, so that should be pretty rad. March 12th to 15th, we're going to be playing all day, every day. So if you're going to be there for the whole weekend and you've got nothing to do, hang out with us because you have nothing but stuff to do. Jamie,
we are excited too. There's someone on chat, Jamie May Odinson. I am excited for it. So am I. I'm so excited for Emerald Comic-Con. Ben, last year at Emerald City Comic-Con, I don't know if we're going to have as much excitement as we did last year when Ben proposed to Amy.
Yeah, that was a good time. The one thing I remember from last year the most is like the amount of lightsabers that were purchased. Like, there were so many lightsabers. Most of it was all Ben. However...
Yeah, I'm sure Ben's not screaming right now silently.
However, there were so many lightsabers. There was the proposal, which went well. That was a really good fun. That was a really fun time, and I think we're also going to help organize Pathfinder, possibly Pathfinder as well.
There's supposed to be a big thing for the Epic. I don't want to give it away, but if you're going to come and play the Epic, I guess there's some big plans. We're just trying to make sure everything's kosher and we get the approval for it. But apparently there's supposed to be some fun times coming, and we're getting some help from some of our friends from the Washington Renaissance Fair.
Oh, okay, I know about this a little bit. That's a big thing.
So we're trying to get some big things set up. We're trying to get some good, fun interactions with NPCs set up.
That's amazing. I'm really excited for that. Speaking of interactions and things like that, and our time at Nerdfaire and coming up to the Foxy Lady this Thursday, table etiquette. This is something that we've talked about before. However, it's always good to keep talking about it, just so that if you haven't heard or you don't know, now you know.
Yes.
It's like those lovely deodorant people that walk around at cons. So,
I know.
So
We had one of ours one time. One of our people decided they wanted to do that.
yes. So over the or during Saturday.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. We really appreciate that.
Hey, thank you.
So much. Thank you.
Bow, 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 bow. Over the weekend, so on Saturday we finished Nerdfaire. Cindy, was there any table etiquette faux pas that you encountered while we were there?
I was I was an outsider looking in that day, so I did see some things. First off, before we get into this, I want to congratulate one of our very own, Michelle, who came in and DM'd her first time DMing. I'm really proud of her. It's always so awesome to have another female DM come in. Love it.
Flexing.
Love it. Always,
Always.
But, I'm really proud of her. But I did see some stuff. Now, granted, it wasn't adult. It was not it. I have seen adults that are guilty of this, but it wasn't the adults this time. It's the kids.
Yeah, there was a handful of disorderly children.
And what was surprising is that some of them, you talk to and you're like, and then they get down in a play and you're like, we're. And I know my child is guilty of this. I'm not even excluding my kid. I have to sit down and have a talk with them about table etiquette and why talking like that is not okay.
So
feces is a thing.
I think feces is a thing. I think I think I know the kids you're talking about. That was actually the Cleric. The Cleric was DMing that game, and I was sitting in as a player. And it was ridiculous.
That's right. So I guess the thing should be don't ask me. Let me ask you. Let me ask some questions because you actually sat at the specific table.
Yeah.
And now I have to say I had to have a little talk with the Cleric because he got so frustrated that he was like, I'm about to kill some TPK some people in this group.
He did,
dude. You need to relax, all right?
Yeah.
Because that's not the point of it either. It shouldn't be like that. You should try to help develop better habits out of these people at the table. You know what I mean?
To be fair, he did the big stick approach, the boppins approach, which
I think we gotta somehow incorporate Pavlov's what is it? Pavlov's rule, the way you would reward a dog. You know what I mean? Do it with children. Be we gotta have candy that we keep there. So when they do something we like, we throw candy at them, and then when they don't, we push them with attacking them. You know?
That's it's Rob. Rob is the one who uses candy for monsters, right?
Dude, that's that Pavlov effect.
Now I know why. It makes perfect sense. If you give them candy to kill and they get the candy, they'll work as a team to kill the kid, or not, but.
Now he's smart because he's a fucking Boy Scout leader. Let's be real, okay? He has to deal with fucking boys all day long. I have a son in Boy Scouts, and those little boys
angels, those little angels,
are fucking insane sometimes. Okay, so the only way to get them to do anything is first you got to make them run laps, which you can't do at the table, but. You make them sweat a little bit by almost killing their characters off. And then when they do something good, you give them a candy.
That's fair. Anyways, all right, so you have a couple of questions.
How did you deal with it?
So, what had happened was... So, okay, first off, shout out to little homie, the kid that was sitting next to me. Bro, he was the coolest kid there. He knew, all the inner workings of the game. And he understood it's a teamwork game. So me and little homie were playing together, and he was super cool. He was kind of quiet because the other boys were a bit more rambunctious, but huge fan. He could come play at the table anytime.
Well, shout out homie's parents if you're listening or watching. Kiddos invited back.
Yeah, he was super cool. Huge fan of him.
He's been playing with Cleric for about 2 years. He started playing at OrcaCon 2 years ago.
Oh, he's been around then.
Yeah.
I thought I remember him because he has the medicine, like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like medicine thing,
Yeah.
and he puts his dice in there.
Those are 7 dice and 7
That's
days a week.
genius.
Yeah, 7 dice, 7 days. Anyways, so the kids in question, like there were these 2 kids that were like friends, and then these other 3 kids that were friends. Well, the 2 over here were like, what were they doing?
I thought those were brother and sister.
Yeah, but no, it was brother. It was 2 dudes. It was 2 boys. But one of the boys was like, "Oh, I want to try and like steal this gem," and he gets punished for it. He's like, "Sorry, that's you take damage." And the other kid was like, "I do it." Okay, well, same thing happens. You take damage. He's like, "I do it again," and he goes down. He out. And I'm just like, oh, what? And I heal him, and I'm like, okay, we learned our lesson, right? No, we didn't learn our lesson. And then, like, so I was trying to handle it in the ways of being, like, promoting, like, teamwork, Like, little homie was like, hey, let's do this as a team. Let's solve this great puzzle. And I'm like, yes, you're the man. You're super cool. And I kept like praising him. I'm like, you're so cool, blah, 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 blah.
But
and then,
trying to like encourage that sort of behavior at the table.
Yeah. And then the other kids would do like the most like outrageous things. And then I was like, I don't know, dude. That's, and I kept trying to like guide them to like listen to the little kid. But
yeah.
No, it was not.
I heard there was some like inappropriateness. I mean, I kind of heard it, but got so uncomfortable with myself that I had to turn away. But I heard that there was like some like seduction that was being done by a young lady underage to an NPC, but she's playing. So here's where I want to ask, because this week on Thursday, let's be real. On Thursday, we're going to be amongst adults. We're all there with women in their lingerie or bikinis, so we kind of like know like what kind of things can be said respectfully, of course.
Yes.
But like, what do you do with like an underage girl who's pretending to not be underage and her character is seducing another adult at the table? Like, I didn't really get into it with the cleric. He like kind of didn't really go like I didn't even think about asking him this until right now, to be completely honest. So, like, what would you do, Mikey, in this situation? And what did you do as a player in this situation?
So, as I think it's pretty easy to handle as a DM, which would be, like, you can really PG-13 romance, like holding hands, things like that. When it gets to, like, unless the girl is like, I'm about to, like, fuck this dude, and like go like it's about to get
then you're like,
wild.
Whoa, pump the brakes.
Yeah, then you pump the brakes, like maybe you roll the NPC as being like, that's not the right approach. So there's some real easy leeway in that. I think as being a player, it's a bit more, you have to be really more cautious. Like, I think if you comment and encourage the behavior, that's probably not the right thing to do as a player. So as a player, I would probably just sit and be quiet, to be honest.
Like, just let the DM take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing I could do is, like, try to encourage that kind of behavior. Especially, I mean, if it's seducing, like, that's fine. It's not until that it goes from that to, like, basically pornography. If it starts approaching that, then obviously like the DM needs to immediately like, okay guys, this isn't cool. So
yeah, that was like my biggest concern, because like I know you guys, and then the next one is like the murder hobo kids. Like I know you guys had like. And you're always going to encounter, whether it's mostly kids that we've kind of noticed that do this, but there are some adults out there that are like, I'm here to fucking kill things, and that's it. I don't care about role play. I don't care about anything. I'm playing a barbarian who just comes in and fucking kills everything.
And that's... Go ahead.
No, and then, like, there's no questions asked, So, like, so there's the awkward, like, what do I do with a romance thing? And then there's the murder hope. Like it goes from too much love to like way too much violence. So
So,
how do we bring these in?
it's, to be honest, I think something that we're going to approach is when you sign up for a game, having an indicator of being like, I am a murder hobo. You know, if you put all of the murder hobos at a table, it's fine. Murder hobo away. It's great. If you're an RPer and you run into a table with murder hobo, it's always like grinding gears. There's no real way around it. So the best you can do is try to cater to combat. Like if the murder hobo really wants to murder something, like as a DM, you can do that. You can give them something to just murderate, even if it's not a part of the module or whatever the story is. You can work in a moment to just give that murder hobo player a chance to just shine and do what they'd like, without truly ruining the RP experience for the other players. But that's something that takes time and practice, and really identifying that. Some murder hobos start off as a super murder hobo, but then they calm down and they move to the more of the role play aspects. But it's really just practice and failing a lot as a DM that will kind of assist you in fixing that.
Yeah, well, and that's why I was asking. I'm like, because you're in like when you're playing, if we know like as at the administration part of like the coming and signing up for the games, we try to remember faces from the last time, but
Yeah.
we encourage a lot of new faces, so we don't know that these murder hobos are coming in sometimes. So it's difficult for us to know where to put these people at the table.
It's always great. I mean, I think we can always tell the RPers, like anyone who's dressed up and has that real like whimsical fantasy like aura. I think those ones we can tell. We know where to put those. But then there's, hi, I'm a sweet kid. I'm like, oh, hello, sweet kid. Let's play with what we think are normal people. And then sweet kid is like, I want to burn everyone to a crisp.
Which has happened quite a bit. So like, how do you bring that in people that aren't having fun at the table? Like, hey, I wanted to talk to that guy. We didn't need to attack him. Like, I didn't want him to fucking be attacked. Like, we wanted to ask him questions, and now he's fighting us. Like, how do you counteract that, Mikey? Like,
so
like, how do you?
When I was DMing at Nerdfaire, I ran into that situation where there was this little girl who was very much a murder hobo, and so the party wanted to kind of discuss with this NPC a little bit. They wanted to like RP this situation, and she was like, "No, I want to throw fire. I want to topple the building, like just crazy stuff."
Yeah.
So what I would do is, as she's like trying to make all these happen, my approach was, I was like, hold on a second, I want to let them kind of role play a little bit. If things get out of hand with them, yes, we're gonna set everything on fire. And then like just that little quick interaction, she was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We'll try to do this peacefully, and if it doesn't, then I get to burn everything down. And she was really into that idea. So that's one method, is to just really directly tell the player, like, I see and I understand what you want to do. However, before we just jump into that, I want to see what the rest of the party wants to do first. And for the most part, they'll kind of agree, and they're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Otherwise, you just kill the bad player. Just TPK.
That was gonna be my next question. I was gonna be like, now if you find yourself where that player doesn't kind of catch the hit and is just kind of like aggressively like, no, I'm running, I don't care what it says. Because like, I'm not gonna lie, there has been moments where I as a player have been like, no one's doing anything, so I'm just gonna do this because I can. At least when I've done something like that, it's because I'm getting hints from the DM, like, hey, there's a box right there. Okay, well, we're gonna check the box. Is there any magic in it? And then everyone doing all this shit, and no one's gonna touch the box. And they're like, well, the box, you know, is just kind of sitting there, and it's like, well, when no one's looking, I just kind of open, and then everyone's like, what the fuck? And then the DM normally I'll see like as if they farted, like, thank you, okay, yeah. And then when you look in the box,
sweet release,
you know, and like that's the only time I do something like that. But like I've heard like Renaissance Fair that there were some people that had came to the table that were like, I don't care, I want to do that. And so like your way of fixing that is like, okay, if you're gonna be aggressive, then I'm gonna come at you with stats that are written here, and I'm gonna destroy you and probably drop you from the game.
Yeah. That, I mean, in certain circumstances, when a player tells you that they jump off of a cliff, you let it go and they die.
Now, what if like another player's like, you feel bad and brings them back to life? Like, do you think that?
So in those regards, unless like if the player realizes, oh, my behavior, like this isn't appropriate behavior, and I should probably not jump off a cliff. I've been resurrected. That's awesome. You reward the player for change. If they decide, which is what happened to me, because the player was like, oh, you know, I kill myself. I'm like, don't do that. Come back to life so you can keep playing. And then the rest of the game, he was like, not really playing. So I was like, it would have been way better to just let them die, because I wasted a heal that I needed for the final fight. But it's, you know.
Now, did Josh end up ever killing the person at the table? I kind of thought I was busy doing other things.
He was going to, but the other, like the other player, just literally was like in another room, like playing tic-tac-toe by himself. So it was like, well, he's no longer a problem and more of a nuisance, I guess.
So now he became a problem, and then because he got embarrassed, he then kind of pulled back.
Yeah, he kind of checked out, and I was like, well, okay, it's a bit annoying, but like it's not as bad as, you know, okay, I set the mayor on fire.
Now, did you try to fix that and like make him feel like it's okay, whatever, just as long as you don't continue that? Like
I tried to, but again,
but he wasn't responsive to it.
Yeah, it was a table of kids, and you know, so there was like, I mean, one kid just was like, oh, tried to like outdo the other kids' stupidity, and it was like from a different group of kids. He was the oldest kid at the table, and he was just like trying to be the most ridiculous he could be, and it was tough. Josh killed him too, and I resurrected him like an idiot, but yeah.
Because you're just the nice guy.
Yeah.
You know what they say, Mikey? Nice guys finish last, buddy.
That's yeah, it's very true. But yeah, so again, like key things I think people forget a lot is Adventures League it's a group. Like your character is
Hold on. Did you see Cleric Games wrote, Daniel at Nerdfaire had a table of kids when they met the person giving them the quest wanted to murder a hobo, Melanie. So now if you know Melanie in real life, do we even have stats on Melanie?
She's an ancient red dragon. That's what she is.
Oh, dude.
She's a CR27.
There has to be like epic ass stats on her, because in real life, like, she would fucking bite your head off. And so like, and she's the sweetest woman ever. If you've got your side of the street clean, she's super fucking cool. But like, to go murder a hobo on the person giving you your quest, like how do you even deal with that? I wonder how Daniel does.
So Chris, on my birthday, he tried to do the same thing. Here's the guy giving you the quest, and he's like, I want to put him in a chokehold and not let go. And I'm like, what? Where did that come from? He's like, yes. I want to sneak up behind him.
Why?
And just choke him out. And I'm like, why are you doing this? He's like, I don't know.
He's trying to give you things. Why?
It was so funny. what I would say, again, so it's particular in that situation, if the whole table is like, yes, murder hobo, great. Throw the module away. Just throw it away. Everything you prepared is now garbage. There's no such thing as story. And you just give them stuff to fight, and then, that's it. An hour later, say you completed nothing. You failed the quest, but you killed some stuff.
I feel like that's one of those moments where like there wasn't a cobalt there, but somehow it magically appears right in front of that person.
Basically, yeah.
And like now their main focus is to fucking take care of that cobalt while everybody else is doing something different.
In some instances, so like I think, I don't remember what adventure it is, but you have a roleplay segment with the big boss at the end of the whole adventure. And you can try to just fight him. Like, let's fight right now. And he is way more powerful than anything, and like snaps his finger and kills the players. In certain regards, let that happen. Like if the whole table was to murder hobo, and they're like, let's go fist fight a polar bear, and the polar bear wins. It's not going to be like a happy, like a fun adventure, but maybe just let it go. Maybe they'll learn something if they just fail miserably. Like, we got to play for 15 minutes and then died. Well, why'd you die? We tried to...
But then at that point, I feel like when we have done something like that they turn around and they want to blame adventures on why that happened.
That does happen. I mean, it's very rare. Like, whenever we run into a situation where the players are just ruining the game, like truthfully ruining the game, they don't, like, there's maybe 2 people in my entire career of DMing and everything. There's maybe been 2 people that are like, you just can't play this game. I've had problem players. However, all of the problem players have kind of learned how to play properly and have fun with everyone else. So when you do run into the situation where it's like, bro, you just can't play this game, that's just it. So, but 9 times out of 10, more like 19 times out of 20, that the player just needs to experience it more, and they'll change. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my thought.
I mean, the one table that I DM'd, I didn't have any problems. I mean, there were like some things that were silly that went down, but nothing like crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So.
I mean, there was a moment where everyone was about to go into a certain place, like they were ready to just fucking wreck shop, and then they immediately got to talk to the lead NPC of the area, and they're like, oh, okay, this guy doesn't seem like he wants to fight.
Is this was this Defiance of Phlan?
No, this was the Eberron one.
Okay.
I haven't done Defiance and Phlan yet.
There's a segment where you like
Phlan.
hit Phlan.
Flagane.
Flan.
Not a dessert.
So let's see what time we got. 1:40. So what I will say to kind of wrap up table etiquette, because we have a few other things to kind of talk about, is how do you handle players that want to steal the spotlight constantly? Oh, Steven! Oh, that's a really good question. So stealing the spotlight. I can't
see that. What did I miss?
So Steven asks, how do you handle the player that wants to steal the spotlight constantly? So this is something that I can see.
Guilty.
Yeah, I'm guilty too.
I'm guilty of that. I play a bard, so my main character is a bard, so she has a tendency of trying to steal the spotlight.
So as the DM, if I encounter a situation where there's one player that's really trying to either steal the spotlight constantly or is metagaming the entire party and not really letting other people play, I'll address it head on. And well, first, either what I'll do is I'll tell that player to wait. So if they tell me what they want to do, This is the same thing. Like, I want to murder hobo someone or completely ruin what's happening. Just tell them to wait and really involve the other players. Josh did this fantastic. He was so good at this. There's a segment in an adventure where the NPC calls out one of the players and is like, "You look like this person," and you kind of run dialogue. Well, one of the players we're with is very quiet, isn't really saying anything. Everyone else is chit-chatting a lot. And he gets to that segment, and then he immediately like calls on this other player who's not doing stuff, and like really brought them into the game, and it was fantastic. And when the other players were trying to steal the spotlight or really just take off in a poor direction, Josh would pause them, like hold on to that thought, and would directly ask the other players that are maybe quiet or something like that. And they had some really amazing thoughts. And when he continued to do this, the other players slowed down this "I'm going to take the spotlight" thing and began to listen a little bit more. So that's one way you can kind of address and handle.
They will also start to address them and ask their opinion too for the quiet people.
Is that Ben?
That's true. Yeah.
You probably want to repeat what I say.
So another thing that'll happen is Ben, say it to me.
When the DM starts to ask the quiet people what happens, then the rest of the party will eventually catch on.
There we go. So Ben's saying is when the DM addresses the quiet players and asks them their opinion, the other more outspoken players will actually take on that same activity and will start asking the other players what their thoughts are as well. And then as a player, whenever I run into these situations, I will, because I'm usually kind of loud and I'll try to take the leadership role, but I'll talk to the other quiet players and be like, "You, what do you think about this?" You know? So.
Which I have, though, I've been a player at tables where you try to do that, and some of those players just, they don't want the spotlight. They just want to be able to wait for their turn to do what they got to do, and they move. Like, "Oh, I'm fine with that. That's okay."
Which is fair. I mean, obviously, you know, if a player responds that way, then you're just kind of like, okay, well, you know, that's fine. But in other cases, like we've run into games where we've like asked one of the quiet players, and they're like, well, you know, they'll say something that is just like eye-opening, and you're like, that is brilliant. Like, that's the most like, why didn't anyone think of that? And it's, you know.
Yeah.
Also, if you call them out, normally the boisterous ones can take it. So if
Oh,
you
yeah.
call them out on it, like they'll start to realize it.
What did he say?
Ben's also saying another thing to remember is that boisterous, loud people who are always trying to steal the spotlight can usually take it when you ignore them and ask, like when you change the attention, like they can usually take that kind of, I'm not going to say harass. They can take that. They can take it, you know. And
I've been
from
shut
it.
down because I get really fucking loud, and I'm like, especially when I'm playing Esperanza, I tend to fucking be super loud. And like, if I'm told like, wait a second, I'm like, okay, yeah, shit.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I've learned though. I used to be that person a lot when I first started playing, and then as I started learning, like I played more often in Adventures League than anything. I started now being the person that just waits, and I wait for like it to get quiet and other people to not know, and then I get really loud during that time to kind of distract what's going on to get everybody hyped. You know, like my goal is to get my players at the table, like my team hyped. Like I want everyone hyped and be like, yeah, let's down, let's do that. You know, like that's my thing.
So, but yeah, so that's some table etiquette things. Involve all the players. If you know that they're all murder hobos, give them the murder hobo quest. You know, and don't be afraid to kill a player.
Yeah.
There you go. Steven says enthusiasm is contagious, like the
It
flu.
is.
Don't sneeze on people.
It is. It's my favorite thing to do. I love getting the quiet tables with Esperanza because I definitely can get like the whole table hyped and everyone down to like be a part of whatever shenanigans she thinks is going to be a good idea for the time. But I've learned, and that's the thing. It's all about like team effort at these tables, especially for Adventures League, I think.
Yeah.
Because you play with so many different people every time, and like sometimes you get a table of your friends if you sign up on time. sometimes you come by yourself to these events and you just really want to play, and you're at a table with people you don't know. I've been there before at Gen Con, you know, like where I played, and like there were people that I had a good time at the table, and there were people where I was like, why did you make that call? Like, that was so stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I've been there. And but it's all about like trying to like explain to people like, hey, you know, maybe at home in a home game, like where everyone's really close friends and everyone understands intentions, like that's kind of the way that you would play. But like in a public setting like this, there's no friendly any like attacking and like questioning, like, you know, it's your teammate because of a certain thing that's showing on them, or you know that, you know, like you're not gonna be dumb enough to hit them. Like if you hit a critical fail, like it's gonna swing past their head. Like, I mean, it's honestly a lot of the onus of this kind of stuff is for the DM to kind of help dictate how the table runs.
Yeah.
But you know, I think also like as a player at the table, you kind of have like, it's taking cues from the DM and knowing how to react to the situation.
Yeah. Oh, there is. So Commander did say that they have a rules lawyer who butts in when they're not even playing. So
we have one of those.
Kinda. Well, no. Our rules lawyer.
I'll call him now, Danny. We're all
No. There's a key difference between that kind of behavior and Danny. Okay, Danny is a rules lawyer. However, Danny doesn't try to like push his agenda that hard. Like last time we played with Danny, right? He's like, you know, the mechanic is supposed to work like this.
There's been times where everything at the table was fine. Maybe I didn't know, and the DM didn't really know much either at that point. But Danny in his big old ears wants to go listening in on games where like, you can't make that happen. Damn it, Danny. Just let it happen. If the DM said yes, let me get it.
Also that, I guess. What I would say, Commander, is if someone's butting into your game from outside and things like that, immediately address them. Like, hey, look, I understand. Maybe you know the rules. We're not playing like that. You know, please don't do that. And if the behavior continues, get a squirt gun. And bad Kiki.
Wait. What happened to your foam dice I got you?
Oh, I have them at home. You know, you just start hucking them.
You need to start bringing those out when you DM at the conventions now.
I will. I'll bring those out. You could
just start pop. No.
I thought I lost the D6 and I was super sad about it, but I found it. So, yeah, I'll bring those out, dude. We'll start chucking them at players.
You gotta start practicing your aim, Mikey, so you can shoot right between the eyes.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up table etiquette and move on to Phlan. So Foxy Lady Bar, we're going to be playing Defiance of Phlan. However, not a. We're playing Defiance of Phlan Delver. Lost Minds of Phlan to Duffalo Flipper. It's a different thing. Hello, everyone. My name is Ben, and I just want to ruin everything you're about to say, Mikey. Phlan. Is it not in Phlan? Isn't Phandalin? Oh, Phandalin. Phandelver.
Hold on, give me a second.
Mount
I gotta plug it in, or we're screwed.
Near each other, though.
Somehow,
yeah, it's
my
not
battery...
too far away. It's in. Three Depot, Phandalins. Where is it? There's Phlan. Where's Phandalin at? Where are you, Phandalin? Daggerfall, Shadowdale, that's Elmswood. Yeah, I don't see it on my map.
What are you talking about?
Phandalin. Where's Phandalin? It's on the Sword Coast. Duh. That's the whole adventure we've been running with the Dragon of Icefire Peak. So let me just rephrase what I was about to say. We are going to talk a little bit about Phlan, though. We ran Defiance of Phlan during Nerdfaire. It was a fun little thing. However, it was made quite apparent that people don't really know what Phlan is. Like where it is. There's some significance to it. First and foremost, that when Tyranny of Dragons came out in season 1 of Adventures League, everything was based in this city.
Well, this is where they launched off like 5e pretty much.
Yeah, correct? It was basically like okay, we're doing 5th edition. All right, we're starting it here.
Yeah, and well, rightfully so, I would say, because it is one of the main areas in all of Faerun, and it's kind of like it's right next to the Moonsea, which is where like all the CCC content has to come from. Mm-hmm. So it's basically one of the main areas of all of like surrounding of where Neverwinter and everything is. It's all right there. It's like the central of everything. So it makes sense, and that's kind of where a lot of like the fractions come from. You know, like the different agents of. We got. Everyone's got their favorite too. We got the Harpers, we got the Emerald Enclaves, we got my favorite,
the Zentarum, Lord's Alliance.
Yo, what up, Z?
Get out of here, dude.
We the gangsters of the town, dude. That's what it is.
We the gangsters.
We are the gangsters, the Zents, dude. Everyone wants to be a Zent when they grow
up. And so, because I mean, even myself, like I didn't really know a whole bunch of stuff about Phlan. And you're right.
Still don't. I just know very little of the basics of it. I'm not really super well educated on it because it's one of those that everybody knows it. You know what I mean? And I kind of like to go for niches. That's why Eberron was appealing to me. But this is like one of the main ones. And when we had to bring this up, I did learn quite a bit when I was reading it, but I still don't know in depth lore of it, you know, like where it came from, how it started. I know about some of the wars that happened, things that have gone on in the area. That's about it.
Steven is just putting into chat a tasty dessert. Yes, the city of Phlan, the tastiest city.
The Phlan.
The Phlan.
It's where all of us Cubans love to go to eat.
Let's start back, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit about the history of Phlan, and you know where it's from, where it goes. It's a very rich history, but I'm just gonna put it more abridged. Unabridged? Unabridged is all details. Abridged is shortened, right? Right. So Phlan kicks back. It's an ancient city. It has been around for thousands and thousands of years. Back in the day, Phlan was just this trading hub. It was right next to the Moonsea. Nestled by some mountains, kind of a deserty area, and it was just kind of kicking it. Well, Phlan spent time kind of trading goods with Myth Draenor, and at the time, Myth Draenor was the wealthiest elven city that was around. Well, Phlan continues to trade with all of the local areas, and they actually begin to accrue quite a bit of wealth. It's in that time passes. Oh, one thing I should note is the Moonsea was at one point known as the Dragon Sea, Dragon Lake, Dragon something. So as Phlan kind of starts to become this economical wonder, orcs and dragons from the north begin to invade, and they actually attack Phlan.
As always.
Oh,
It's always the goddamn orcs, dude. They can never just stay in their own fucking place. They always gotta come try to take everything from everyone.
And so these dragons and these orcs, they come and they attack Phlan. And one thing with it is Phlan was just kicking it, and they're like, "Hey, you know, what are we gonna do about this?"
Fucking Fritz! He saw that's some racist shit.
Oh, Cormier.
Considering one of my favorite characters is a drow, dude.
Like a dragons.
I fucking hate the orcs.
That's so funny. Inevitably, what ends up happening is Phlan waits too long to come up with any kind of plan. And the dragons and orcs destroy the city. And it's just devastated. Time passes, and some people decide that they are going to rebuild Phlan from its ruins. And so you get some unsavory characters and the Zentarum kind of decide that Phlan's in a really nice spot. They can trade with a lot of local areas, and I mean it was becoming an economical wonder. There's no reason why it can't happen again. So they start to rebuild the city, and the city actually ends up getting ransacked a couple of times as hundreds of years kind of go by. It's just it's a pretty constant story of we built this city
on
rock and ruins, and then it gets sacked in some way. Well, finally, what ends up happening is Phlan gets rebuilt, and it's like, bro, we're sticking around. We're not going anywhere. We're hanging out and we're staying. And we get to Phlan as of today. So Phlan gets rebuilt. It has been thriving for about 300 years. However, those unsavory characters and the Zentarum basically have control over the city. There is a council of good doers, but they don't have the influence of the city that they need to kind of like take it from these corrupt clutches and things like that. So Phlan today is kind of a mob town. It's like I want to say it's like old school Brooklyn,
No, it's like to me. What like the more you describe this, it reminds me of Colombia.
Colombia.
The one that they did the Netflix show on, I can't think of it. Pablo Escobar. It reminds me of like a Pablo Escobar type of situation where like, he's a gangster, but like he does shady shit to make money, but the people love him because he rebuilt like these small fucked up cities, and like the government works with him because they have to, because the people love him, but they're trying to not have it be corrupt being ran by gangsters. So that's kind of like the vibe I'm getting off of this. It reminds me of very Pablo Escobar-ish.
It is very much like that. And so,
which is very more that makes me intrigued even more in this. Like I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this now.
So with that, like the city has nothing but corrupt guards. Everyone's selfish. Everyone's trying to just like, keep their head down, their hands clean, and they're trying to live happily, but it's not really,
as most people do, right?
Yeah, in the corrupt city of Phlan. One unique thing about it is because Phlan had been destroyed and rebuilt, and that cycle repeated, is it is a city kind of built on ruins. So there are like secrets and mysteries. One thing about it is back when the orcs and dragons attacked Phlan, is there's like these stories of how there's like buried treasure deep within some of the underground ruins, and there's,
and that goes along with like the dragon hoarding and all that kind of stuff, correct?
Yes. So it's they think about it as like there's a dragon hoard here, because I mean when they sacked the city, like the dragons kicked it there for a little bit. before they left. And so that's kind of just the basic history of Phlan. Um, and that's where season 1 of Adventures League kicked off. And one of the adventures that they had released was Defiance of Phlan, which is what we ran at Nerdfaire. Cindy, you didn't get to DM it, did you?
No, I didn't. I focused more on like our little on helping out with some of the adminning while Ben was doing the majority of it though, and then I did some of the sales and for some of our merch that we take with us to the events. So I didn't really get to DM this time. Michelle did. She got to run it. I wish we could have her. I'd love to have her one day on the show and just kind of talk to her about it and see and talk about like compare experience on DMing. She actually DM'd twice in one day.
Oh,
so I was really she did better than me. She was like, I wish I would have done that too. Now looking back, like I wish I could have like did it once and then ran it again later, so that way I could have been like, let me just immediately do what I wish I would have done the first time. You know what I mean? For the experience. But no, this one I hadn't ran. From what I told, it's pretty simple.
Yep.
Not too many, like only 39 pages or something like that, right?
Something like that. Well, one thing about
that's like stat blocks and all that shit.
Yeah, it's including stat blocks. With Defiance of Phlan, I'm a huge fan of it's 5 mini adventures that kind of loosely involve each other, that kind of culminate into a bit of a story, which I'm a huge fan of. I love the mini adventures and into like telling a big story. So it's
seasons. I love how they did the Adventures League within seasons. Like I'm into that like concept.
Yes.
That I love that concept. That's one thing that's really appealing to me about Adventures League. So I think it's really cool that they started out. The more we talk about this and the more I'm learning about Phlan, I think it's pretty cool the way they set up the first opening for the season to like bring you into the whole world within 5th edition. You know what I mean? I think that's fantastic.
So they do. In Defiance of Phlan, they do a pretty good job of kind of giving you like the feel and grit of the city. And one of those things, like I said before, is because it's like Colombia with corrupt guards and things like that. In one of the segments, there's a woman who's crying. She's holding an infant child.
I heard about that.
Yeah, she just escaped from an attack of goblins, and like the rest of her family. She's got in the thing. She's got like 2 daughters and 2 sons and a husband who all have been captured, and she fears for the worst. And the city guard come by, and they're like, "Well, that sucks, but our jurisdiction's just here in the city, so." And then they like turn and just arbitrarily hand the adventurers a little notice and like, you guys, investigate and figure this out. And it's just this little like promissory note of 50 gold pieces. And the guards are like, c'est la vie, people clear the streets. Like they're heartless and they don't care at all.
It's like here, it's the first season, and they're like, here, welcome to the rest of your fucking Adventures League career. You're just gonna have shit thrown at you, and you're gonna have to figure it out. Welcome.
Which is hilarious. So it's, but it's cool. I like all the little mini adventures. I think season 1 kicked off pretty well. I like the Cult of the Dragon and Tiamat and kind of all this. Apocalyptic shenanigans.
See, when I came into Adventures League to play, I came in during season 7.
Was it?
It was
Tomb of Annihilation. That's kind of where I was also like adamant and like really jumped into it.
I mean, so I know us as Cleric Games, we're trying to figure out how to start from the beginning and play to catch up. So that's something I think we'll be kind of exploring a little bit more. I think it'd be really interesting for people like us who jumped in way later in the game. And I'd like to kind of explore some of these modules to see how they've developed. Like, has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Is there a season that we actually thoroughly enjoy because of the writers they chose for that season? Like, I'd like to explore a little bit more of that, Mikey.
That would be because I know we're working on kind of getting together like a play review sort of like DM trope to kind of get some of these things together. But I would love to be able to like play, discuss, and really dissect like writing styles and stuff. Some of the older material that I've read, I love some of the authors. Some of the new stuff that I've gotten to read and play through, like that, there's definitely a huge writing difference. Some of it's really good. Some of it's kind of like, not so sure about why this is written this way. But no, I think that would be fantastic. I would love to do that. So.
Yeah. Fritz wrote something on here. He's like, that is untrue. I'm not at all a fan of the Zents. Oh, because Ben.
Yeah.
He says, they're very bad for pickup game-based organization like AL. AL is already difficult because you need strangers to try and care about one another. And the Zents are like, NA, man, F that.
Nah, man.
Phlan was actually the first thing Chris ever DM'd. It's a great intro for people new to RPGs. I really like that.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Defiance of Phlan. I think it's written pretty well. And so going on with Fritz's thing about the Zents and how it's a bad pick for like pickup game-based organization and whatnot. For a while, for those of us who might be very new to the game, but you chose a fraction to kind of represent your character.
That's odd. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was the Zents, the Emerald Enclave, Lord's Alliance, all of these different fractions with like ideals, and I think it was really nice to have when you're kind of building your character, and it was kind of cool. But I agree with Fritz with like the Zents. They're very selfish, and they're lawful evil in my mind, and that can be really difficult to play in Adventures League.
Yeah, see, the way I decided to play it was I already knew that the Zents were kind of like a gangster, like mobster, I guess would be more like like a cartel, a mob, you know, where they're like a cartel, and like they're like men that like are well respected in like this group, this organization, and you always have like the scum, and scums are like the go-to people. And the way I jumped into it was like the organization gave me money to become a famous bard, and Josh's character, who's my husband / manager, also is part of the Zents because they kind of give him the money to make sure that I see through what they want me to accomplish for them and like bring money. So like for me, it was really easy to like pick up that mobster vibe with the Zent. And like, you know, anybody you ran into, if they were a Zent, it was like, oh, you're part of the mob gang, you know. It's like bikers, you know, like oh, I don't know you, but you're just from a different district of our organization. Like, okay, so we should trust each other, but at the same time, I'm gonna question everything you say because for all you know, you're just trying to get one on me too, to like get more out of it and move up in the organization. So I think for some people it might be difficult because maybe like that's just not who they are, and like that kind of like feel like that's why the Harpers are good for like people that are like trying to kind of be like, I'm more neutral, I'm more cool, like this kind of shit ain't my deal. Like what Zents do is not kosher with it. And so for me it was like easy to kind of pick up that mob, like that mobster vibe, and be like, no, I totally know that where my money goes to, and I know who I owe at the end of the day, you know. It's the Zents, and I can't get mad because they got me here, you know. Like that's how I play it.
For me, a lot of Zentarum players were all murder hobos. So I mean, it was super easy to be like, oh, you're Zentarum? Okay, well, have fun playing. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna walk away. So they're very like, I like to kill stuff, and I don't care who you are, I'll get you, murder hobo, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay.
See, because like Esperanza's not murder hobo-ish. For her, it's like every face is more money, and more money means the Zents are going to be happy because the percentage that I owe them trickles down back to them at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So like, why would I kill somebody if that means they're going to provide more money for me later on to then hand over to my organization that takes care of me because they gave me money to start this in the first place, so I owe them whatever.
They give
so
me
like,
the coin.
Yeah. See, exactly. Like Fritz is like with the Underdark slavery and all that kind of stuff. For some people, it's difficult to find like that, to tap into that really dark side of your personality and be like, this is what I'm going to play, and like still be able to play amongst other people. I don't know. Maybe that's cool. Maybe that's bad. But for me, like, I can tap into that dark side and like be like, create that character that's kind of manipulative. And I think Phlan, is a place that Esperanza really needs to go visit. I think she's got a fan base just waiting to happen out there.
Of course.
You know,
Of course
I think the Zents are gonna totally play her up out there and make sure that she's got the best of the best. You know.
I like Fritz's little comment. Just because you named a knife diplomacy doesn't mean it still counts as talking. That's
like
funny.
That's a great one. That is a good idea.
But yeah, so Phlan's a very interesting place. If you guys are more interested in learning about Phlan, plenty of resources on like fandom wikis, things like that. It's got a very kind of in-depth history.
Yeah, there's not a lot of YouTube content out there about it because I like to listen to other people's point of views and like hear what they have to say about it. And there wasn't a lot of content out there about this, so that's what a lot of this is like. It's heavily reading based content that you're gonna have to get access to kind of learn. Again, going out to buy Tyranny of Dragon is really helpful because that's gonna have a lot of the information that you need for the.
Yes. So, yeah, there's that. We were kind of discussing 21 and up games.
Yeah.
So, Cindy, tell me a little bit about, like, do you think a 21 and up game is a good idea? Do you think, what do you think are some of the challenges?
As a mother, I think it's a great idea.
as a mother, yeah.
Because like I said, I enjoy our family time events that we do, like doing all the family stuff. But sometimes when you get older, and like I didn't grow up playing Dungeons and Dragons, but I grew up watching a lot of like Lord of the Rings, playing World of Warcraft, playing Warcraft, playing, like reading fantasy books. And there's always that aspect of like the adult side of things, where like there's a little talk of some, like some intimate stuff that happens maybe between an NPC and a player, I want to explore that. Like I tried to in Avernus with Danny when we do Demons and Devils, like I'm trying to tap into that. I want to tap into like the stuff that I wouldn't normally do at a table with a bunch of kids. I'm not trying to make out with an NPC, and I'm not trying to go to bed with an NPC, you know what I mean, in front of like my kid and other kids. But I'm going to heavily flirt and like perk up, my character's gonna perk up her boobs and her like leather vest outfit and like try to seduce somebody if she can. Like that's, and I think that being able to have an opportunity at a table with just adults and there's no kids around, and especially like where we're gonna be at the Foxy Lady Bar where the girls are in bikinis and in lingerie, okay? We're there to enjoy beautiful women, and we're there to be adults. And being an adult while I'm playing D&D is a plus. Okay, number one, the word fuck is gonna probably be coming out more than it should. Number two, I'm gonna talk about titties and pussy and some big ass cock. So for me, that's what May 21 and up means. I don't know. What does that mean for you, Mikey?
I guess it means all the same thing. No, I like.
So, like, I mean, there's things like if when I go to I've been going through the Evanron module again and kind of reading through, because if we end up having to open up another table and people will come and they're like, we want to play Evanron while I'm here and have enough players, I'm probably going to start up the game. And I'm like trying to think about like how I'm going to bring adult kind of context to it. And I mean, there's just things that you can play up, you know, like the aggressiveness of certain players by just throwing out a couple fucks and like being a little more aggressive than you normally, you know, like that to me is probably where it's going to be different than if I were to play it with a bunch of kids.
I will say that I really like the mature aspect of being able to approach situations of like domestic abuse, you know, rape, and like, I mean, all of these really strong contexts. Things like, clearly I don't want to like handle a thing of domestic violence with a table of kids, you know. I don't want to like, you know, racism and all of these like really hard, like even like political misdealings. Like some of these like themes I think would be really amazing to kind of explore and like encounter in D&D, which I mean obviously you can't really have those kinds of games with the kids. So that's something that I'm really excited about.
And like with rape, I guess you have that's even with adults, it's still a touchy subject.
Yeah.
But like there's underlining things that you can do to make it obvious that that was something, because you know, if you can bring it out tastefully, the thing that I think could be really good about that is that the adults at the table are going to be more aggressive about going after this character that you really want to go after, like playing one of the NPCs who's sitting next to like it, you know how they have a guard like in Eberron, like they're sitting next to like they have one of their guys that's with them. You can make that character either a younger man or female, and like he gets angry and he backslaps that person, and then that's gonna make the player be like, what the fuck did you just do? Like, why are you treating that like that? And like with kids, you can't really do that, because then the kids are like, you're either going to encourage way too murder hobo-ish in a child, okay? And like those kids are going to get really aggressive, and then their parents are going to come back and be like, what the fuck did you play at this table, you know? But with adults, it's like they're a little bit more like, whoa, bro, like that's not how you treat someone, you know? And like their player will either play that, or they're going to be like, oh, really? Let me go talk to that person that he just slapped, and I'm gonna get that person go against him, and then we're gonna just gang up and we're gonna figure out how to like infiltrate this situation. You know what I mean? And so like there's, what's that?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so like there could be a lot of cool things that come from playing with adults. I mean, it could get, kids are really creative, don't get me wrong, and they're really sweet, but with adults, like I want to see some aggression come out of that.
I played one game, or I ran a game, a homebrew that dealt with domestic violence, and so like there was like a big evil bad guy, right? However, he paled in comparison to like the quest giver, which was this guy who was like beating his wife and his kids, and like the whole quest was to go to save the wife, and like they go through this whole thing and and then the story got really like, I want to say passionate. Like the players were really invested at the end, where like there's you know this guy and his family, and like the whole thing that they did around like trying to help the woman, and send the man to jail and like all this crazy stuff. Like it was a really really good game, and it was something that really made me want to explore more adult themes with other people. So
it just brings that passion to the table. Like again, you have to be very careful and make sure that you ask your crowd, because it could PTSD somebody. I'm a victim of domestic violence from my past, from child abuse and all this kind of stuff, but those things don't bother me. For me, it's almost very therapeutic when like something like this at the table happens, because I feel like okay, now I can put myself in a place where like I really sympathize with this one character and I really want to go after this other character, because I want to feel that empowerment of being able to bring down someone who thinks they're better than me and stronger than me, or stronger than that person, and they need my help, and I get to be a fucking real hero and like come out at top and be like, my abuser's like, the abuser's fucked, and I'm gonna fucking make sure that they die a horrible death, and I'm gonna say something clever right before I kill them, and be so awesome. And like, you know, like that to me, like I'm getting goosebumps. Like that to me in a role playing game, I think is really powerful. And so I think that like being able to have something let's see, Kenobi read, I mean, I use fantasy games and books to escape reality of how awful humans can be. I don't necessarily want to make that in game, which is fine, and I understand that. And but for like, I think that there's still the opportunity for people that like that do go through these things. Like I said, it's therapeutic. You're able to turn around and be like, that happened to me. Nobody needs to know that happened to me, but now I get to turn around and like beat that person up. You know, like it's the concept of like, oh, I'm gonna go kick a ball and I'm gonna think about my ex-boyfriend's face on that ball. You know what I mean? Like it's that same concept. Like I'm gonna pretend that person is this evil thing that happened to me in life, and I'm gonna conquer that like fear by using that monster to be that person and like overcome my fear, you know? And like I think that's something that should be explored more, I think, personally. But I think there's still a little room for like that passion. Hold on. Hey, what's up? He comes in here and he's just standing and staring at me. Like, awkward thing. Come and say hi.
Hey, everybody.
Carne asada, dude.
Let's see. Fritz. That kind of stuff triggers me hard. I don't know what module it is, but that one in Plan where a dragon attacks the town in a tower, and all these cultists start collecting people, and 3 times I've played it, no one else at the table gives a shit at these guys are caging up people. They just want to kill things, and I can't deal with it. I'm 100% TPK the table to try and being abducted for slavery. Not gonna lie, Fritz, I have fucking been in a situation where I'm like, it was literally me who like pushed to make sure. What game was it, Josh, where we were play testing a game with Danny and Heir of Orcus, and like you get these things and they're like sentient, like you find out they're like clones, and you're not supposed to care about clone. And I'm like, no, dude, like my character kept focusing because my character was playing like this.
Bye, everybody.
This I played a character who played that she had a child that no one knew about and was a stripper and like pretty much a hooker, and like went to like try to supply for her family, and she ended up in this area, and like she sympathized with these beings, and like she was persistent with the group where it was like, fucking leave them alone, no one, they're not even real people. And I'm like, I don't care, they feel, look at how they're acting. And like I pushed, and because I was the one who pushed the table and I was so persistent about making sure we helped them, that like one guy wasn't into it, and everyone at the table was like, I don't know, let's just follow her, she seems to get really upset about this, we're just gonna go ahead and help them then, so that we have enough time, sure, let's help them out. And the other guy did it, and it was like, fine. He got so frustrated because everyone's like, we're gonna help these people out. And he was like, fine. And we helped, and they helped out, and it was like, I felt so good at the end of the whole situation, because I was like, yeah, we helped them, and we realized that they were feeling something, and that they were starting to like come to the realization. It was like very. Do you know the show West something?
Westworld.
It's on Westworld. It's like that. Like it was kind of like the same concept where they created these things that started to come to like have like realizations about what they were and like how no one gave a fuck with them and they were like enslaved pretty much, you know what I mean? Like they were being created and used to be slaves for other people, and that because they were being presented as like they don't feel anything and they're just constructs, no one really gave a shit. And so like the city was like kind of turning their backs on people that were just disappearing because it didn't really matter. So I was like, no, we need to fucking figure this out and help them. And so like yeah, and so that's why I think like there is a little bit of room for some of these things. And Fritz is right. Like if you have a table that doesn't give a shit, you make them give a shit by fucking with them, and the people that are like that are caring reward that person. Like this is what I'm trying to inflict, this compassion, this caring of the game, you know? And like so in Everon, remember how I told you guys last week, Josh, oh god, they got the heater working, so now it's getting warm. So where Josh was like, that guy was such an asshole, Cindy. Like, you played him like such a jerk that we had to help this girl get away. Like, I'm going to play that up a little bit more. Like, that guy, I'm going to play him off at this 21 and over game. Like, oh, man, like, I fucked this chick one time, and now she thinks she could just use me as, like, her excuse to get away with this. Like, dude, I'm not calling her back or, like, contacting her back because I don't care about her. It was a one-night stand. Like, I'm going to, like, play it up like that. You know what I mean? Like that whole like asshole like kind of a situation. So like either the players are gonna feel bad for this chick or they're gonna bring her back and be like, dude, you need to fucking talk to this guy and be like, no, you told me to fucking do this and this is what's going on. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different ways that you like or the person or the people in that game, and that's kind of how I feel like I want to bring adult situations because there are the one night stands. We have shit like fucking Tinder nowadays. You know what I mean? Like there is this world. So I want to know how the females react at my table. I want to know how the males are going to react at my table when you play this whole like what culture is now. And now I'm bringing it in D&D. How are you going to treat the situation, you know?
That's one of my favorite things about playing with you is like the realism that you'll bring into a game as both a player and a DM. It's my ultimate. You're like my favorite person to play with.
Thank you.
Is because like I can build a situation that has like depth and meaning to it, and you'll like attach to that, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. It's fantastic.
Well, dude, I grew up like. Because I had issues as a kid and there was a lot of like home problems that I had, a lot of abuse of physically and mentally and stuff like that. I used like Disney especially was like my escape. So like I love Disney music, listening to other people's music and being able to like find like the sadness in their songs and adapt to my situation to that song. And like then as I grew older, it became video games. Now I was able, they started releasing video games with like role playing and like story behind it. I was able to then find myself being able to relate to these people, you know, and these characters, and finding situations in my personal life to like find it therapeutic, you know what I mean? Again, it goes back to being able to use gaming as almost like an escape, you know, like you bring bits and parts of reality to it so that way when you come it becomes like an instant gratification, whereas in reality you don't get instant gratification. So shit, you know what I mean? Things take time to like find their way to like conquer thing or that like one, you know what I mean? And so like in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, you can then find these characters and relate yourself with these characters and be able to like find a way to like overcome the puzzle that they set forth in front of you. You're like, well, if this was real me and like I was given the opportunity to treat this X situation in this manner, how would I come out of this? Like, okay, I know if I just go and kill him, I might die. But maybe that's how I want to do it. Maybe I want to go like straight up like I'm gonna fucking kill you till I'm dead, or do I want to outsmart this person and like be like, boo, bitch, you're dead because I'm smarter than you. You know what I mean? Like that's the beauty of it. Like, how are you gonna present the table, and how are these players gonna bring it to you? And I think as a DM, that's even more rewarding too. You start seeing these players like, wait a second, like they're thinking in their head, and they're like, how? I don't like how that sounds. No, that doesn't sound right. I'm gonna ask him this question. If he's fucking lying to me, like I'm gonna kill him. You know, like, and that's beautiful.
No.
That's beautiful.
Cindy,
That's
do you remember? You're like, I want to check the wardrobe to see if it's like male or female clothes in the wardrobe because they're trying to figure out if it's this chick's room. This was back in
yes,
Christmas. Yeah. Oh, I do want to take a quick moment. Stephen just asked if this is a regular stream that is out weekly or something. Yes, this is Cleric Talk Tuesday, every Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We usually run 1 to 3, where Cindy, the High Priestess, and myself kind of sit and we chat about things that are D&D related or...
mostly Adventures League.
And we will be, moving towards more play, more this, more that. It's kind of we're kind of a casual talk showy thing.
We do. We like to talk about everything when it comes to gaming. We even play test board games once in a while. We like to do random shit, but our majority focus is going to be on talking Dungeons and the actual Adventures League. And what's great about Adventures League is that it does go hand in hand with what's going on in the like just the regular Dungeons and Dragons world. It always goes together, so that whatever news we're thinking about Adventures League kind of is like talking about Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Like just the regular Dungeons and Dragons world. It always.
I like the spirit fingers you did there. That was great.
It helps with the nails too. It makes your attention.
That's true. Are those new?
Yes, these. I don't know. Did I show? I don't think I showed last.
I haven't seen these. I think you talked to me about them.
I don't know if you could see it. You probably can.
A little bit. I like the dark one on your ring finger with the black swirly bit kind of towards. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty dope.
There's this one that's got little planets. Like you can't really see.
Yeah, I can't see the little planet. For whatever reason, it's making me think of Sailor Moon. But I think that's just because of all the Sailor Moon at Nerdfaire.
It's a little Sailor Moonish, but the reason I like this one with the cat is because it think of like I can't barely say it, but it's like a cat sitting and staring off into literal space. That's like daydream, but like there's like little planets and stuff. It's like space, and I'm like, it's me and a cat.
It's me in a kiki form.
Exactly.
But yeah, Nerdfaire. There wasn't too many Sailor Moon cosplay, but there was a lot of merch.
Like there's like little planets and stuff. It's like space, and I'm like, I'm sitting here reading like what Fritz wrote, and honestly, like I can't wait to have Fritz on my table because like I don't want to ever like make him, but I would love to present this type of like these things that I know kind of like tend to make him tick because I want to see him get angry. I want to see him go after these fucking things. Like I want to see him be like, no motherfucker, I'm the motherfucking hero and you're gonna fucking die today. Like that's what I want to see. I'm stoked. I'm stoked on having Fritz at my Curse of Strahd table because I think his Warforge is gonna be so passionate about like trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with the place.
It all began with a goat. that's where all the passion is.
Him and the goat are just gonna fucking conquer the goddamn Barovian world. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be fantastic. Like I want to see that passion. Like I love that. You know. I want to see. Sorry, guys. I want to see my table like hate the NPCs I bring. I want that. I want them because then that means I'm doing a good job on creating a world that is realistic enough to where like they're thinking about how they're gonna destroy them. Because that's the whole point.
Good. I'm still super excited about my priest, my pastor,
your
little
bardic
dude.
pastor who's just gonna fucking just encourage everybody.
Yeah, he's a bard, but everything is very priest themed. So like his words of inspiration are like quotes from the Bible, and it's gonna be great. I'm gonna
I don't do angry per se, but I 100% commit cause, and like when a decision is made that's it, and there's never. And I can only imagine how exact like there's can't divert once a sentient warforged is like this doing like
conclusion has been made.
I mean, think of the Terminator.
Target found, eliminate. So
better be on your Bible knowledge, Michael. No, but he's not going to be worshiping God. He's going to be worshiping
Palor.
Right? Palor.
Yeah. So all of my religious quotes are going to have to do with the sun. It's rays of light. I do. Cindy, this is like my Oedipus character. Okay, I've put so much work.
Hold on, he wrote none of this Jesus web stuff because you need to be Old Testament.
So, I haven't started Preacher yet. I just finished watching Daybreak, and Preacher's the next thing on my list. So it's gonna happen. And then like my plan, the plans for my character. Hopefully I don't die early on, because he's not going to be very combat efficient. But right before he hits about 5th level, he'll probably change classes. Like I'm really hoping that Barovia really shapes his character. So I'm kind of going in as like an innocent baby. And then so it'll be like, do I change to a fighter? So his class will heavily switch at some point. But he's going to walk in there as, praise the sun. People are good,
And there's no sun there.
Yeah, it's all faith. I've got this.
That's why I can't wait. Like, am I going to shape fucking belief system or what?
I've got this dialogue kind of in my head about how his faith is knowing that the sun rises every day, and even on a cloudy day, you know that the sun is out in all of its glory. And then there's going to be those moments where it's like, I want my character to be affected by something, and then try to pray to Palor, and then really challenge his belief and his faith without ever really seeing the sun. So,
well, I'm really curious. I'm not curious, but I'm really excited because literally it came out just in time. Is the new show on Netflix, and I've been watching, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm like jotting notes for ideas. You know what I mean? Because there's some really interesting shit that would be so fucking cool. So I can only imagine what's gonna happen. And now I have been discussing with somebody else on a different forum privately about their Cursed to Strahd game that they're about to start, and we've been swapping ideas. And they had a really interesting one. Hold on. Let me see what Fred said before I get it. Quick, Cindy, we need to go to the and have 12 sons.
Oh my goodness. I will become the greatest disciple of Palor and the 12 sons.
Oh my god, that'd be fucking Anyways, we've been discussing about stuff, and he was deciding about maybe even gender being Strahd. Because, there's a little underlying, rapey kind of shit in there, if you really think about it. You know, some of the stuff. But I was like, that would be really interesting to gender swap Strahd, to make her a female, or to make him her.
That would be great. One of my favorite books of all time is I Am Legend. Primarily because there's dialogue with the main
Oh,
character.
Cleric Games. I said Dracula on Netflix. Sorry if I cut out Dracula.
Draculia. But there's this internal dialogue of like he sees like they're vampires, but they're like beautiful women, and like he has this pull, like this tug and pull of like sexuality and arousal with like undead women, and like it's really messed up. So like if Strahd was a woman and was beautiful, I'm really curious to see how my character would develop from that, you know, where he's like,
Ooh, imagine the type of nightmare dreams that she could fucking provide.
yeah, because my character's about purity in the sun, and is going to be like a virgin in many senses of the word, and so like the push and pull in a lot of these areas, I'm curious to kind of see again where he.
We only had 15 minutes left. Should we just tell? Thanks, but
Oh, I think we're back. Yeah.
Are we?
Yay, technical issues. Yeah, it looks like it's running.
Well, no, I wrote that.
No, I see that we're live. With that, we're gonna go ahead and move to our goodbyes, seeing as how technical issues want to cut us short. But the show ends at 3:00 anyways, so those of you guys who have kind of kicked it with us.
Hey, Mikey, I gotta announce this though. Fritz wrote. He's like, the twist at the end is that they're actually, just FYI, that'd be fucking hilarious.
Twist at the end. It's actually moons. And the sun is a lie. Oh, that would be great.
But anyways, yeah. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you please follow, like, friend, wherever you're watching us from, please push whatever the button is to make sure that you keep posted on when we're on days. We are working on a schedule. I know we've been saying that for a while, but it's been a little bit more difficult than planned. We are trying to get schedules going on have more games. Tonight was canceled again. Our DM is having some major issues on being able to get to his future to be able to play our Tuesday night game in Avernus. I'm getting a little antsy in the pantsy because I like to know what the fuck is going on with my more. Other than that, please, once again, subscribe, follow, like, and wherever you're at. We located. You can find us on Twitter.
Yep.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram. Find me even on Snapchat. You know, like, come on, I'm on it. We're everywhere.
You snapping now? What are you?
I'm snapping all the time. I've been snapping for a while, buddy.
Snippity snapping. That's hilarious. Cool. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check back next Tuesday where we're gonna talk about more things. The future of gaming, digital playing fields, animal
really
companions.
I want to talk about video games. You know, that's my other passions.
Yes.
About putting the two together.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys again. I think we're gonna go raid Bonsai. Show her love. All of that fun jazz. And with that, hasta mañana.